Yes, it is. And Israel has already called it Operation Lion's Roar. Thank you for that, Arun. Professor Brahmachalani is also with us. We'll also go across to our other guests who are joining us on the broadcast. But viewers, we are breaking format to get you what has happened or what is currently happening in that region. Iran is under an all-out attack, even as the Israelis have mounted a massive string of cyber attacks trying to bring down critical Iranian systems. The American Navy is using its full might and force. Just an update that we will start with. The Embassy of India in Jordan has actually tweeted and said that in view of the prevailing regional situation, all Indian nationals and tourists in Jordan are advised to exercise utmost caution, stay safe and follow advisories issued by local authorities diligently. All Indian tourists in Jordan are further advised to leave the country immediately before the operations of commercial flights get disrupted in case of any exigency. In fact, if you were to check flight radar, and we'll try and show you here from our news pit in a bit, that the entire airspace is clearing out. The moment Iran said that they were closing the airspace at least until Thursday next, and that entire region, and the huge assault across multiple locations in Iran by the American military. Trump is on an all-out aggressive mode. What he's saying is that Iran can never have a nuclear weapon. To safeguard America is what he's saying, and its people and this region. Iran can never have a nuclear weapon. We are going to decimate their navy, is what he's saying. They are a vicious group of hard, terrible people, and I'm quoting President Donald Trump here. Its menacing activities directly endanger the U.S., our troops, our bases overseas, and our allies throughout the world. Trump has further said that the U.S. attack on Iran could result in the deaths of U.S. personnel and cause casualties, saying that often happens in war. When he was asked of the repercussions, he said when you go into war, you have to gain losses, you have to be able to absorb a few losses, but it's for the greater good. Trump further saying, and I'm reading this out, we are going to destroy their missiles and raise their missile industry to the ground. It will be totally, again, obliterated. We are going to annihilate their navy. Just a short time ago, Trump has further said the military operation in Iran began. Our goals are to protect the American people and eliminating immediate threats from the Iranian regime. Terrible and malicious people. Iran must not have nuclear weapons. Never. This regime will learn that it must not challenge American military power. And then Trump has told the IRGC to lay down their arms, saying they will be treated fairly and with total immunity or face certain death. Now there is also another update coming through that there are fighter jets dominating on the skies of Tehran. Mossad has appealed to Iranian citizens following the attack. We are with you. Together we will return Iran to its days of glory. Keep yourself safe. Trump has further said, when we are finished, take over your government. It will be yours to take. This will probably be your only chance for generations. So this is the message to the Iranians, the common people. So somewhere trying to draw the line by saying we are not against all of Iran, we are against the current regime led by the Ayatollah Khomeini, and also we are against the IRGC. Brahmachalani ji, how do you view this? Because there is a certain level of politics that's already developed closer home. Pawan Khera has just tweeted saying, look, Modi's friend has attacked Bharat's old friend Iran less than 48 hours after the Prime Minister left Tel Aviv and touched down in Bharat. Brahmaji.
As you know, Anand, that Trump in his second term has carried out a series of military interventions. He has bombed more countries in the very first year of his second term than Joe Biden did in his entire 4-year term. But this renewed strikes on Iran, just 8 months after he claimed publicly that his bombing of Iran's nuclear sites had completely obliterated Iran's nuclear capability. He, in fact, posted on social media that not only had Iran's nuclear capability been completely obliterated, that it would take years for Iran to rebuild that capability. Now, within 8 months, his goalposts have shifted. He's now talking about freedom. This is the usual tactic with the US. Whenever it intervenes in any country, under any administration that has spoken about freedom, freedom is only a facade. for intervening in another country's affairs. But let's pose a very basic question. Pakistan has nuclear weapons. Pakistan is building ICBMs according to American intelligence. In other words, Pakistan is building a missile capability that can strike the United States. And as US governments have admitted in the past, Pakistan has been involved in nurturing terrorist groups. In fact, there was a Pakistan link to 9/11. The key masterminds like Sheikh Khalid were found in Pakistan. Osama bin Laden was ultimately found in Pakistan. Yet the American administration, today's administration, is not concerned about Pakistan. It's actually mollycoddling Pakistan while claiming that Iran poses an existential threat to the US. As the New York Times yesterday pointed out in a detailed front page article, that all the three basic claims that Trump has laid out as to why Iran needs to be attacked, all those three key elements are based on falsehood. Now, the more fundamental question is this, that if this operation against Iran doesn't go well, it will not only mar Trump's presidency, it will actually stem his impulsionist, his interventionist impulse. He's been, as I said, on a spree of military actions. He has redefined peace. Peace no longer is the absence of war. Peace, according to him, is what arises from employing overwhelming force against targets that you choose. So he has blurred the line between war and peace. And the kinds of military interventions he has carried out, he has felt emboldened by success of these operations, especially the one in Venezuela, the way he managed to bring about regime change in Caracas. All that has emboldened him. Now, if this operation against Iran were to backfire on Trump, that will completely blemish his presidency and basically tie his hands for the rest of his second term.
Well, but one would assume that he has gamed that, and the fact that he delayed it for such a long time to trying to avoid it was perhaps fruit of or somewhere proof of the fact that he wanted Iran to toe the line. There are others who believe, Ambassador Prabhudeal is with us, Ambassador Prabhudeal, there are others who believe that Trump has decided to try and... Sanjay Suri is also with us. Sanjay Suri, in Israel, are there any alarm bells ringing, any sirens that are blowing? What is the message around in Israel? You're down on ground, even as Israel has joined operations and called it Operation Lion's Roar. And we are given to understand the Israelis have started with the other arm of war, craft of war, where they've attacked the installations via a massive round of layers and waves of cyber attacks across all Iranian installations, critical installations.
Well, in Israel, we've had warnings and by way of a siren going off, and there have been alerts issued to everybody in Israel through the Homefront app, and people have been told to stay alert, stay close to a shelter. This is an alert, a warning that's gone out. There are no visible and immediate signs of any panic. There are unlikely to be any. Israelis are very strong as a nation. They hold their nerve in the face of such a situation, and not least because just about every Jewish Israeli is trained in combat. People are not just familiar with military routines, they have been a part of these routines. And so this is a combat situation that Israel has long lived with, long prepared for, and long trained in. So the surface calm that you see is not just a matter of pretense. There is a very genuine sense that people will hold their nerve and are determined for Israel to see it through to serve Israeli ultimate interests as they see it, and those interests will have to be, for a start, not just the nuclear issue that Trump has been speaking more of, but within
Right.
Israel, the immediate threat is the ballistic missiles from Iran. And if those have to be neutralized, then this operation certainly has to be taken through to the finish. And the prevailing view here appears to be that it's about time this was done, and now that it's begun, it has to be carried out through to the end, that there must be a complete destruction of the ballistic missile arsenal of Iran. There must be regime change, and there need to be moves to encourage protesters to take over their government, and that this attack could be a sign of encouragement for them to do so, while it also seeks to weaken the government and the IRGC from within.
True. Sanjay, you are above, you're outdoors. Is life as usual in Israel, or have people been advised to stay indoors? And hope you also have a spot safe around, and you've been told if the sirens go up, where you need to go, which shelter to take.
Well, by way of an alarm, Anand, you see right behind me a minute back, people were playing beach volleyball. On the beach here, there are people surfing. So that is how alarmed a lot of Israeli people are. But that is not to say that they are watchful. People will not take silly chances out of any sense of false bravado. Right here to my right is a bomb shelter. It's an extensive bomb shelter, 4 floors below the surface, and that is where people have been asked to go to in case there is a warning. And there are people have told that they will have 90 seconds in which to get to a shelter. So people are watchful. They're going about things, but they know where their shelters are. They've seen them. They've familiarized them with these places, themselves with these places for a long time now. Everyone has the app that will guide them. So there is a system of precaution in place, and for people to respond very quickly. So should the alarm go off, should the siren sound, people will know what to do. Short of that, there is no immediate sign of panic on the streets yet, and people are just going about quite calmly. Israelis do recognize that this is not a new situation. They have faced and lived with the threats and in a warlike situation almost ever since the existence of Israel from the late 1940s. So this is going to be a real test now. This is going to be a real challenge. This is going to be different, and very soon we'll know whether Iran hits back and what it can hit back with, and crucially, for how long. Because in the last 12-day war in June of last year, to begin with, Iranian missiles were neutralized by Israel and the US together. But as the fighting continued, Iran managed to penetrate the defenses in Israel more and more. Iran has recourse to what it considers swarm tactics, where it seeks to overwhelm with numbers. So these are strategies and scenarios we're looking at down the line.
Right. We've just got an update. Russian Ministry of Transport has said that Russian air carriers have suspended flights to both Iran and Israel. So it's open conflict. Everybody taking certain measures, cover measures. We'll try and see if we can get Ambassador Prabhu Dayal also to join us on the coverage. Brahmachalani is with us. We have more updates, viewers. Exiled Iranian Prince Raza Pahlavi has urged Iranians today, just a short while ago, to prepare to return to the streets as the Islamic Republic collapses, and called on the country's military, police and security forces to break with the clerical establishment and join with what he described as a push for a stable and secure transition. Now, this message that was addressed to Iranians, Raza Pahlavi has said it's time to resume protests because the end of the regime was near. He urged people to stay home, remain calm, and be ready to mobilize when he gives what he said would be precise instructions. So clearly, it's a multi-pronged strategy, which we knew, Brahmaji, when we discussed last, that they will have to put in place to topple the 47-year-long regime led by the Ayatollah. Somewhere the focus is to topple this regime, a regime change to another regime which will be more pliable, perhaps docile and would listen to the American terms. That's what they're trying to engineer here, and they cannot allow this to stretch beyond a certain limit, because otherwise this entire momentum will be lost. So one is cripple their installations via cyber attacks. Two, bombard them via huge military attacks. Three, create street unrest. Four, try and break the security stranglehold or perhaps the organizational stranglehold. And fifth will be the economical pressure, because all their oil exports, crudes are gone, the coffers are now dry, and Iran can't wage a long war. Their entire ballistic missiles, if they are neutralized in the silos itself, Brahmaji, what does Iran have as an option but to accept a regime change and the unseating of the clerical establishment?
And regime change in Iran is going to be a Herculean mission. If that's a mission that Trump has sought to achieve, then success is going to be quite elusive. The reasons are simple. Iran is not a soft state. Unlike the states that he has attacked, he has bombed in the last 13, 14 months, Iran is a very different state. Second, the Israelis and the Americans did try the street protest method to topple the regime in Tehran. They were behind. They were behind the recent wave of protests in Tehran. That led to thousands of deaths. The fact that those outside Iran sought to engineer a mass rebellion against the regime, unconcerned about how many thousands of people may perish in that rebellion. And yet, those mass protests were crushed ultimately. But I think there's a more important geographic fact that we have to keep in mind. You know how terrible George W. Bush's Iraq invasion went? The occupation of Iraq backfired on the US. It ultimately created such strong public opinion against foreign interventions that the Americans even now talk about the disaster of Iraq. And we should not forget that Iran is 6 times bigger than Iraq, 6 times bigger than Iraq. Or take a 20-year US military intervention in Afghanistan. If you put Iraq and Afghanistan together in terms of size, Iran is double the size of Iraq and Afghanistan put together. Regime change in Iran is going to be a very uphill task. I don't think the Americans will be able to accomplish that. This puppet son of the late Shah of Iran, he carries little credibility in Iran. He can make any statements that he wishes from the safe comforts of his home in the West. The fact is that in Iran, as long as a large body of public opinion does not want foreign intervention in the internal affairs of Iran, the regime will not be toppled. They may kill the president, they may kill others, but there'll be replacements. It's easy to replace military commanders as well as political leaders. The reason why Hamas is still alive and still a fighting force in Gaza is that Israeli strikes that have decapitated Hamas repeatedly, killing one chief after another, one major commander after another, is that the lesson from that is that commanders and even the chief of a militant organization is easily replaceable. So let's take the worst case scenario that they manage to kill Ayatollah Khomeini and the president of Iran, or they kill top military commanders in Iran. That would not bring about Iran's capitulation on the battlefield. Iran has prepared for decapitation scenarios. The very fact that today Israel and the US joined hands to carry out attempted decapitation of Iran, of Iran's leadership, both spiritual leadership as well as political leadership. And probably they may have even struck military targets to take out command and control structure. Iran must have prepared for this scenario.
True.
And I think Iran has shown from last summer's fighting that
Right.
it is resilient. It's able to manage to